What's up, everybody? This is Click and Cliff coming at you with a brand new Beyond Click and Cliff podcast for you. This is just a podcast where you hear me talk about life stories and blah 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 blah. No, something for you to listen to while you're working, mowing the yard, cleaning the house, doing whatever you're doing, having me in the background. Hopefully, I can make you laugh, smile. Hopefully, I don't make you cry. You might cry after listening to this. I don't know, but hey, it's something I'm going to talk to you about. That's on my mind. A life experience, a life story, and and we'll just take it however long it takes us. Hope you enjoy, and we'll go ahead and get right into it right now. Well, guys, I'm going to tell you. Growing up, I did chores. I had chores ever since I could move. When I was little, it was either cleaning the room or helping my mom pick up the house. And that's when I was a little bitty. When I was able to go outside, I had to do other chores. I had to go help my dad do stuff out in the field or in the barn or wherever. I had to do that. But what's funny is, here I had chores every day. My life schedule was get up, do chores, go to school, come home, do chores, eat dinner, do homework, and go to bed. That was Monday through Friday. And then on the weekends, it was just all day, helping my dad doing something. And it taught me some stuff in life. But this story I'm going to tell you today was weird. It was my 16th birthday. You know what? When you turn 16, you think you can open the door to a brand new car with a ribbon on top. You know, that was my dream. But no, did that happen to me? No. I didn't. I had to use my dad's old truck to drive around when I got my license. So that didn't happen. I asked Dad, why don't you buy me a truck? Or I like trucks. And he goes, get a job. I'm like, wow. Okay, whatever. I don't have time for a job, Dad. You keep me busy around here. Um, but a little backstory. He was saving up to buy me a truck. I just didn't know. And I'll tell you what's going on here in a little bit. But yeah, he told me this later in life. He said that I was saving up to buy your truck. You just did it too early. But anyway, now we'll match the dots here in a minute. 16th birthday. I don't know what it was, but back then McDonald's had a buffet, and I enjoyed their buffet. I liked it. Of course, tradition family in my family was if it was your birthday, you got to pick where to eat. And I wanted to go out for breakfast. I chose McDonald's, and eating my breakfast. And my mom knew the manager of McDonald's. She was our neighbor. We were eating breakfast. I was sitting there enjoying my breakfast. My pancakes, my sausage, um, and I think I had biscuits and gravy too. She comes out and tells me happy birthday. My mom just looks at her and says, "Hey, he needs a job." And she looked at me, well, what size clothes do you wear? Like, I got hired on my birthday. A job. I looked at my mom like, what are you doing? I don't have time. Y'all keep me busy. She said, you can work, make some money of your own. And I started. She let me, my new boss goes, you can finish breakfast and we'll get you back there and get busy. Like, I'm not even going to go home for. And on my birthday, I started McDonald's. Oh man, I did not like it. I went in there the first day. It was okay. I kept with it for the summer. School was out. Man, I hated it. I hated McDonald's. I hated working there. Don't know why. It wasn't that hard of work. I just didn't like standing in one place. I think that was the worst part of it. I either was cooking hamburgers or running the grill, or I was in the back washing dishes. And I hated just sitting in one spot all day long. It just irritated the tar out of me. So, so I only stayed there for, I don't know, I think through the summer. When school started, I talked to Dad. I said, Dad, I really don't want to work during school. And Dad understood. He goes, well, if you're going to, I think it might be a good idea that you don't cut yourself because, education was big in my dad's. I want you to concentrate in school. I don't want you to get tired. So I was like, whew. But in that time, I did buy a truck. I bought my own truck from working at McDonald's. Another friend of my dad's had an old Chevy S10. Ran. It just looked kind of rough. I mean, it oxidized. The paint was fading. But hey, it was a truck, and I bought it for $2,000, and I thought I was king. Got my first truck, and boy, I was going to school in my new truck, and it was good. It was a good time. I enjoyed having my own truck. My parents did too. They didn't have to take me around everywhere that I wanted to go. But yeah, we had fun. That's the most important thing there's to do is having fun. But I ended up talking to my boss. Well, and I just said, hey, dude, I'm quitting. I didn't give him 2 weeks. I said, I'm quitting. I got the permission from my dad. I didn't know anything about putting 2 weeks in. I just know school started the next day and I wasn't going to work at McDonald's. Now, I don't know why I was too good for McDonald's. I'm not saying if you work at McDonald's, it's not too good of a job. For me, I did not like sitting there, standing in one spot all day. I hated it. I hated it. I wanted to move around. I did not want to sit in one spot for 8 hours or 4 hours, whatever my hours was to sit there and do one job. I wanted to move around. Didn't want to stay in one spot. So I ended up leaving. A couple of months down the road, when Dad talked harsh reality with me, saying, well, you need to get a job to pay insurance and gas. I can't afford all that for you. I'm like, but what happened to the school deal? And Dad goes, well, I won't keep you busy if you get a job. That way you can still do your job and you can do your schoolwork and be prepared. Okay, fine, whatever. I knew I didn't want to go to McDonald's, but I did go to a grocery store. And they hired me. I began as a bag boy or cart, bag people's groceries, take them out to the car, and grab a load of carts, bring them in. At least I was moving around. I wasn't standing in one spot. I was moving around, so I enjoyed that. I actually enjoyed the grocery store. I believe I stayed there I stayed there for 2 years. I stayed working for Ramey's Supermarket. It used to be Price Cutters, but it's still in the chain. I don't know what it is now. But I enjoyed it. I even worked up. I worked up the chain. Before I know it, I was doing the cashiering. Before I knew it, I was doing stocking and shelves. And then on the weekends, I was in charge of the frozen dairy. I worked in the frozen dairy on the weekends. Enjoyed. I enjoyed it. I even did produce for a little bit. And then, I stayed there for 2 years. I got on the work program at school where I would go to school for half a day, then I'd go to work, and work till 4 or 5 and go home. So I was making money, paying for my gas, my insurance, and my other stuff. So I enjoyed it. Actually enjoyed it. And the day I quit, my boss, I did get 2 weeks there. I learned. I went up to the boss because this is when I started go. I was on the fire department, and I was wanting to do that, and I was wanting to get in full time, and I knew I couldn't do that both. And I went to my manager and I said, "Hey, I'm putting my 2 weeks in. I told him what I was wanting to do. I'm interested in this fire thing, and I want to choose that as my career path. And he looked at me. He goes, "Man, I was going to offer you a full-time manager position." And you know, he goes, He even told me I was a good worker. He said, I couldn't ask for a better worker." And I go, "Well, appreciate that, but I did 2 years here. I want to go to and start this career." And he understood, and he helped me out too. He gave me a letter of recommendation and all that stuff, and he did everything in his power for me to stay. He goes, "How about you can do this on days off?" Thought about it. I really did. I thought about it, but I just at first I had to deal with schooling. I had to get all these correct, for the fire service. Fire 1 and 2, hazmat awareness, and hazmat technician. Had to be an EMT, so I had to be an EMT basic. So I had to do the first responder, and then the EMT basic, and then I had to do I did confined space rescue, water, rural water operations, fire science 1, fire science 2, and also did fire inspector 1, fire inspector 2, then instructor. I was an instructor. So I advanced my career, and I had to concentrate on all that stuff. So, needless to say, my mom made me work on my birthday. This all started there. It wasn't from my dad installing me work ethic and all that stuff. I probably would not made it where I made it. Yes, at the end, life took a unfortunate turn. Had some major health problems. A lot, everybody knows that story. So I had to retire medically from the fire service and all that stuff. So that's where I'm at today. Right now in the Lego business now. Enjoying Lego, my hobby, sharing with you guys. Of course, this is not nothing to do with Lego. This is more of a life story. But it was a good life. I wouldn't trade it for the world. But yeah, I just couldn't believe my mom made me go to work when I turned 6 on that very same day. I was content and just helping my dad around the house and doing my chores that I do every day. I was really content on doing that, but Mom thought different. I'm kind of glad that they forced me to work and got me in the workforce and understanding what I got to do to make a living and all that stuff. And yeah. But hey, I'm going to leave this one with you today. Hope you enjoyed this Beyond Click and Cliff. Like I say every podcast, I want you to be good to one another. Pay it forward. Be somebody's light in somebody's darkest cloud. They could be having a bad day, and just a hello from you would brighten their day. Compliment somebody. Say, "Hey, I like your hat." I like your hat too, if you're wearing a hat. If not, well, I like your hair. Even though I can't see it. But you get what I'm saying. Be nice to one another. Pay it forward. Treat others how you want to be treated. Just respect one another. The world's a gloomy place right now, and just us as a community could make it better just by being nice to one another. Guys, until the next one, bye-bye.